Like, we have to fill the frame.
We have to fill the entire frame.
Because these are filler games.
Okay, because we only have so much time.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Pretty solid.
That's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. These are filler games. That was dumb.
That was just, yeah, that's to say that's how every intro of ours works. I am Mike, that is Nick. We are here to talk about filler games,
yes,
okay?
Indeed.
Filler games, I think, fulfill such an essential function.
An essential function.
Because if you're doing a game night, especially if you have multiple games going with multiple groups of people, games don't always finish at the same time, and maybe you want to switch up who's playing against who, and a filler game is the perfect thing to just like slot in.
It's like 30 minutes or less.
30 minutes or less.
Quick games.
Quick, gives you some fun stuff to do.
Very easy to learn. Usually kind of fun and maybe a little bit raucous.
Yeah,
it's meant to
like a
be
bit of an energy boost.
Yeah, just like it's a palate cleanser, right? It's like lemon sorbet in between things,
I don't mind
right?
that at all, yeah.
Exactly. So
That's
we're our
delightful.
top 10 filler games.
Our number 10 is going to be Wind the Film or Photograph if you're in the United States, because it's called Photograph over here, but it's called Wind the Film everywhere else. This is by Saashi and Saashi, and this is a really great, really tough little card game where you are drafting out basically sequences in a long photograph, and they have different colors like blue and purple and brown and things like that, and they go specifically in order. There's 1 all the way up to I think 11 or 12. And then as you start this sequence, when you're drafting these cards from the kind of center of the table, you are putting them down, and then you have to basically decide if you're gonna be going ascending or descending in order. So again, if you put a 5 down, you can either go down to 1 or then up to 12. And each card has essentially a range that it can be next. You don't necessarily have to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can kind of skip some in there, but if you can't put a photo in its correct spot, you'll have to put it face down, which will be essentially an out of focus photo. And as you're grabbing them from the middle, you're gonna have to kind of grab them. There's a grid of cards in the middle. You're gonna have to grab them from like one side. You're gonna have to take the cards in that row, and you have to place them. You can't choose to not. And so it's this really tough little puzzle where you are basically trying to take the best photo you can, trying to work in this realm of putting things in ascending or descending order, and doing that by drafting out these cards. But again, as other people are drafting cards, you're like, oh gosh, they took the cards I needed. Okay, so like you're kind of trying to mitigate some of the damage. Like what's the thing I can take that's gonna do some good, but also do the least amount of damage? It's a really, really tough little game that I absolutely adore. All right, now here's the thing. Sometimes you want to stop, but you can't stop, and that's the name of this game and the premise. This is a straight up, super fun, push your luck game where you're going to be rolling dice and you're going to be making pairs with these dice to create values between 2 and 12. All of the possible values can be rolled with 2 dice. And this is a push your luck game because as you are working up these tracks, you can only work on these three tracks of the many that are available on any one turn. Once you have 3 kind of markers and you're moving up, so I'm working on the 10, 7, and 3, if I'm choosing to keep on rolling, which you can always stop, but you can't stop, if you can choose to roll and you don't roll dice that can make a value of at least 1 of the 3 tracks you're working on, basically if you cannot progress on at least 1 track, you bust and you lose all progress from that turn. If you decide to stop, you can save essentially your progress, like wherever you are, you'll move your pieces up to that kind of marker level, and then on a subsequent turn, if I'm now working on the 3, I will begin from where I started or ended last turn or a couple turns ago. So you can kind of save your progress and kind of live to fight another day. I just love the bare simplicity of, do I roll the dice one more time? It's always engaging, it's always interesting, it's never going to not be fun to try to try your luck. And especially with this game, it kind of scales where if you're going for the 7 is, odds on the most likely thing to roll with 2 dice. And so that track is actually much longer than the things that are 2 and 3 and 11 and 12 because those are much harder to roll. There's a lot fewer ways to make that combination. So I like the kind of, you know, dealing with, I have a 7 that I'm working on, so I can at least maybe hit that if nothing else, and I can try to go for these like more extreme edge case numbers and stuff and just try to get to 3 columns first. It's always a blast. Next up is going to be King of 12, or Queen of 12. There's now a second version of this game. They kind of work the same. But King of 12 is this great game where you are going to be rolling out a D12, and you are going to be trying to essentially have the highest value every single round. Now, what you roll, obviously, is your value. So if you roll an 8, the person rolls a 1, well, you're sitting pretty. But everyone also has the same set of cards, and each round, everyone is going to simultaneously choose one of their cards to play. And then you're going to flip over those cards, and those cards are going to change some stuff. So it could increase the value of your die. You're not physically increasing it, but you're kind of virtually increasing it, and that will give you a higher value. So if you have a 1, maybe you can increase it. You could also play the card that basically means that this round, the lowest value is going to win, and then therefore your 1 is looking really, really good. And so everyone's choosing stuff at the same time, basically trying to have the highest value. Now that alone is kind of in your face and fun, but where a lot of the fun for King of 12 comes from is that everything cancels each other out. So if 2 people play the same card, because everyone again has the same set of cards, if 2 people play the same card, those cards cancel each other out and they basically don't exist anymore. At the end of the round, if 2 people have the same value, let's say both 2 people have the highest 2 values are value 11, they cancel each other out, and then the next highest value is actually the one who wins. At the end of the round, whoever has the most points wins that round. You're trying to win 2 rounds. But if 2 people have the same points and they both have the most, guess what? They cancel each other out, and then the next person wins. So this game is all about trying to get into everyone's head and basically trying to play a unique card so that you can actually do the thing that you want to do. Or if you think someone's going to play this card, maybe playing that card, trying to cancel them out so that you can actually win. It is very, very fun. It's one of those games that was kind of one of the biggest surprises I've ever had. When we kind of learned the game and saw the game, we were like, okay, I'm sure this will be fine. And we absolutely adore it. It just creates so many giggles and so much laughing and fun where you're constantly just like, oh my gosh, how did we end up with the same thing? We canceled each other out. No, it just ends up being so fun. I love King of 12. Next up is Surfosaurus Max. This is a strange, interesting, shared poker game that we actually learned for the first time at a BGG con with a lot of the BGG folks and had so much fun with it. This is a game where players are going to be playing cards to a table. You're each going to play 2 cards total, 1 at a time, going around, and you'll play your second card. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to have it be that one or both of your cards are cards that are within the strongest collective poker hand. At the end of everyone playing 2 cards, we will take a look at all the cards in play and decide what is the strongest hand. If it's a 4 of a kind, a 5 of a kind, a flush, a straight flush, things like that. And if your cards or card are part of that hand, you can then bank those cards for their coconut points because it's a crazy theme of surfing dinosaurs and stuff. Now, what's really interesting is as you get going, maybe you have the makings of a straight going. We have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or something like that. But then if someone plays a 7, now the straight has shifted where the 7 is the high card, the 3 is the low, and the 2, if you played that 2, you're out of the hand. And you need to try to play something that is going to, again, be part of that strongest possible hand of cards. It's always really fun and interesting to almost like try to lobby with people. You're like, come on, join me on this. We're going for a flush. We can all play this suit. It'll be great. And whether or not they have that in their hand, we don't know. But it kind of feels like this almost semi-cooperative game. And something like a collective poker game is just not something I've really seen where we are kind of making one hand out of everything at the table. Number 6 is one of my favorite games of all time, and this is Fuji Flush. There are tons and tons of fun little card games you can put on here, but Fuji Flush is probably my favorite. It was in my top 10 games last time we did our top 10s. That's how much I like Fuji Flush. I really, really adore it. This is a Friedemann Friese card game where you are basically trying to get rid of your cards, and their cards are 1 to 20. There are a ton of 1s, or maybe it's 2 to 20, I think, but there are a ton of 2s. There's only 120, only 119. And basically, when you play a card, let's say I play a 5, if the next person plays a higher card, they will then flush me, which means I will have to get rid of that card and draw a new card. So I have the same amount of cards in my hand, which again, you are trying to get rid of your cards. But if I play like a 5 and the next person plays a 3, they don't beat me. But then if the next person plays an 8, that beats both the 3 and the 5. And so both of us would get flushed. And basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to play a card so that it gets back around to you and no one's beaten your card. If that happens, you get to get rid of that card, but you don't have to draw a new one, which means now you have less cards and you're trying to get rid of all your cards. Now where the fun of this game is you can start what we always call chew trains. Basically you can start trains and you start adding your scores up with other people. So if I play a 2 and then Mike plays a 2, our 2s combine into 4. And then if Karen plays another 2, now we have 6. And so it's one of those things, if someone plays a 10 and the next person plays a 10, boom, now you have 20. And so it's really, really hard to beat that when people start combining those high cards. But then also sometimes you can like get in a big train of 3s and then all of a sudden you're up to like 12 or 15. It becomes hard to beat. It's really, really fun. And we call them chew trains. Shouts out to Foster the Meeple and Jamie, who you can watch here on Board Game Geek doing solo stuff, is they always, when you put on a 2, you go 2 chew train, 2 chew train, 2 chew train, and then someone else hits a 2, you're like, yeah, 2 chew train, 2, and it just turns very, very silly. But then we get into like 13 chew train, and it's just very, very dumb. But I absolutely love Fuji Flush. It's that perfect little filler game where you just want to laugh, have a good time, try to get the thing around you so you can get rid of a card. It's just a great time. All right, next up is Captain Flip. This is a game that it feels so quintessentially filler. It's perfect. It's a game that you can play in 20, 25 minutes. And this is a really simple pirate-themed game where you're going to be adding a tile to your ship. There's kind of these various columns that you're filling out. And the whole kind of premise of this game is the idea of do I take what I can see or do I go for the mystery? And that's going to come in the form of these tiles. So you're always going to be pulling a tile from a bag, which will have 2 different characters on either side, but you only see one of them to start. And you can choose when you pull a tile to either place it as it is, whatever character is face up, and then they have different abilities they trigger. You're trying to earn as much money as possible. But if you want, you can decide to flip your tile and take whatever character's on the other side. Now, once you decide to flip and you flip it, you can't undo that choice. You have to take the new result for better or worse. And then you're gonna place that into your ship, kind of filling out these columns. And again, I think with a filler game, a really keystone thing to making these games successful is having one thing at the core of it that's your hook in. For me in Captain Flip, it's always going to be interesting and just magnifying, whatever word I'm looking for, to have that decision of, do I take what I know I have, or do I take the mystery because it could be better? That's going to be interesting every single time because you don't know what's on the other side of the tile. I think it's super duper fun. There are different ships you can play, different maps and stuff that kind of change things up, but it's ultimately a fairly simple game. It's just really great and really fun every time. And for my money, I'm flipping that tile. Number 4 is going to be Draftosaurus. This is a great little drafting game where you're drafting dinosaurs, hence Draftosaurus, right? So this is a great little filler game. Again, you can teach and play this game in like 10 or 15 minutes. There are 2 sides of the board, and so you can actually play this entire thing, both sides, in like 30 minutes. It's super, super easy, super, super quick, and it's really, really great. So Draftosaurus is a game, like I said, you're drafting out dinosaurs. You have your own little dinosaur zoo, that's what's in your board, and then you have a hand of dinosaurs. You're going to pick one of those dinosaurs, put it in your in one of the pens and then pass those dinosaurs to the next person. You'll get past them. You pick, put them in a pen, keep going around until you've drafted all the dinosaurs. Now, every round, whoever's the first player is going to roll dice, and that is basically going to dictate what areas of your map you can put stuff in. So it's like a forest area, and there's kind of like a mountain area. So if the mountain die comes up, you have to put it in one of the pens in there. And the pens are all different. One pen wants like all the same kind of dinosaurs. One wants all different dinosaurs. One wants is a little couple pen, so it wants little pairs of dinosaurs. There's like the river, and you can kind of put anything in the river. And so there's all these different kinds of pens, and they all score differently. And so you're basically just trying to get the best score you possibly can. But this is so great because it's so easy to teach. The dinosaur miniatures, they're little meeples rather, are just super cute and stuff like that. So this is a great way to teach drafting to people. And it's just a quick game like, oh, we have 20 minutes? Cool, let's sit down and play 1 or maybe even 2 games of Draftosaurus, draft out some dinosaurs. It's just a great time. Next up for a filler that I really enjoy, that we really played a ton of when it came out, is Dice Miner. This is a dice drafting game where you're going to have this kind of standing mountain of dice, and you're going to be taking dice off of kind of the topmost part, for the most part, from the mountain. And the types of dice and what are rolled are going to be different things that are going to allow you to score points or maybe even lose points. And there's some amount of drafting dice around and stuff as well. And what's really fun about this is like there's these different types of dice, different like avenues to explore. There's kind of the white dice or your tunnel dice. You're trying to make sets from 1 to 6. If you make a full set, you get a bunch of points and stuff. If you get a half of a set, that's also good, but you have to have a 1 to begin the set. There are these gems, and if you collect gems, they're all worth a point, but if you collect the most gems, you get double points for your gems. There's like hazards, which cost negative points, but if I get a tool, like a pickaxe to stop a cave-in or a shield to protect against a dragon, what would normally be negative points are now turned into positive points. And what's really cool is as you draft, you're gonna play over 3 rounds, and everything that you draft and score in the first round, you hang on to, and in the second round, you draft more, so you have this kind of bigger and bigger trove of dice. To potentially, increase and ramp up that scoring. It's super duper fun. It's quick. You can play it great. It plays great from 2 to 4 players. It's just always super duper fun. Number 2 is going to be Scout. Scout, there are a lot of like small box card games that you can play here, but Scout is just a really, really fun puzzle that we've had so much success teaching people and having a great time playing it. This is a circus themed game. It's a small box card game, it has no theme, but let's be honest, it's technically circus themed. Where you are basically, it's kind of a card shedding ladder climbing game where you're basically trying to get rid of your cards. And you do that by playing down. When you're playing down a card, you have to beat the card that is already out there. So if someone plays a 1, you can play a 2, or you can play more cards. So if someone plays a 9, you can play 2 1s, because 2 cards is better than 1. And you can play things like straights, like 1, 2, 3, or sets, like 1, 1, 1. And sets are stronger than straights. So that's what you're kind of doing. That's pretty typical. But in this game, you are given your hands of cards, and each cards are double-sided. There's a value on the top side and the value on the bottom side, and you are not allowed to shuffle your deck. And that matters because when you're pulling things out of your hand rather, and putting them down on the table, you have to pull things that are adjacent to each other. So if you have an 8 here and an 8 here, I can't take these, put them together, and then put it down as 2 8s. They have to be next to each other in my hand of cards. So when you first get your hands of cards, you can either take the way it's like this, or you can decide to flip it over and take it the other way. And you're like, okay, which one of these is gonna be better? Okay, this one has 3 3s next to each other. Ooh, but this one's got a pretty good straight. I think I'll flip it over and take that sure thing 3 3s. Now, where a lot of the puzzle comes into play, sometimes you'll have like 3 3, some card here, and then another 3. So you're like, ooh, if I can get rid of this card, now all my 3s are together. So it's kind of like trick-taking game or any kind of small box card games where the whole point, the whole puzzle is what's in your hand and how do I make that work? And again, you're trying to put out cards, trying to beat other cards. You can do things called scouting, which is where you will give whoever played the cards, you will give them a point. And then you get to take one of the cards that are down on the table into your hand, and you can orient it however you want and put it wherever you want. And scouting is a really strategic part of the game because you can scout when you can't beat something, or you can just scout because you're like, ooh, you know what? I have 3 8s. I'm gonna take this 8 and and now I have 4/8. That's really strong. And so it's just really, really good. It's easy to teach. It just goes over well, and it's just got that delicious puzzle every single time. Number one's gonna be That's Not a Hat. For us, filler games, again, simple idea, simple rules explanation. These types of things make filler games really great for us. That's Not a Hat is super simple. It's a pure memory game. You're gonna have on the cards all sorts of just kind of really simple sketches of different items. And like a traffic cone, a dog, a pillow, a TV, all sorts of stuff like that. And you are going to start off by seeing your card, and everyone gets to see their card, and everything starts face up on the table, but very quickly things start to go face down and start passing around either to the left or to the right, and it starts to become quite difficult to track what everything is. And then more cards are going to be getting added in to the mix, and it becomes very confusing, and you have to then be confident. If you get past something, you're like, I think that was a strawberry, but it could be a duck, and I now am going to be passing this on. I have to say, here is your duck, and you have to announce what it is you are gifting to someone else, and if they don't think that that card has that duck, they can call you out and say, that's not a duck, flip the card over, and if they are correct, you essentially, get a hit against you, or if they were incorrect and they wrongfully accused you, they lose out and stuff, and you're trying to eliminate players and things. The thing I like about this game is it's so casual and silly. Everyone, I feel like it's a great equalizer. Everyone does, at least people we know, does equally poorly at remembering. Like as soon as stuff starts shifting around, everybody's lost. But because everybody's lost, no one's feeling very confident in accusing each other because they're like, I don't know what this thing is. And it becomes really fun. It's always fun, and there's laughs. And yes, there's like winners and losers, but it doesn't really matter. And I think that's also great for a filler game. It literally is just a fun time. And then as soon as you're all kind of done with that and everything, you're probably ready to move on to the next game, and everyone else is timed out perfectly for that. So it really just kind of fills in any space that you need. Boom, those are 10 filler games that we quite enjoy, but we always want to know from you, what are your go-to fillers?
Yeah, there's so many good ones.
There's so many. This is by no means a definitive list on the matter. It's for our taste, it is, but we want to know from you, what are your favorite fillers? What are your go-tos? What are the ones that kind of always hit for you? Get those in the comments below so we can get a nice kind of recommendation for anyone who's coming by and wants some game recs. Until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Nick.
We're the Brothers Murph, and we will see you all in the next top 10.
Bye, everybody.